Hello, everybody. This is LK Elliott with the amazing, incredible Gala Darling, who I'm a major, major fan of. So, Gala, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Now, for anyone who may be living under a rock who doesn't know who Gala Darling is, she is a best-selling author of the incredible book Radical Self-Love, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. She is the master of spiritual badassery, and she's just like the epitome of authenticity and awesomeness. So, Gala, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of your background story, where you were and where you are today, I would absolutely love to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So I am originally from New Zealand, so hence the accent. It kind of comes and goes. I've been living in New York for 9 years now, so it's not as strong as it used to be. But I grew up in New Zealand, and in my teens and my early 20s, I was really depressed. I struggled with an eating disorder for about 5 years. And I always wanted to be creative, but didn't know how to make it into a living. I was working in retail. I was working in call centers. I would cold call people on the phone to try and sell them newspaper advertising. Like, I worked in a bank call center. Like, I had the most soul-sucking, terrible jobs. And I, had always been a writer since I was a little girl. And I just didn't know how to make that happen. So when I was 23, I basically rewired my brain by using tapping, which is also known as EFT. And a lot of people now know what that is, which is amazing. And once I did that, I really felt like this overwhelming optimism. And I felt like I had wasted the last 10 years of my life by being so miserable. And I really wanted to just start taking some risks and trying some new things. So I moved to Australia and I started my blog. And it kind of exploded from there. I started writing about personal style, and then people were really asking me, what should they do to be happy? How could they be happy? How could they take more risks? How could they be more confident? And I started telling them what I had discovered over the last year or so. And it's really grown from there. And my first book came out last year, and that was really exciting. And I'm now working on my second book, which is a continuation of that in a whole new direction, which I'm very excited about. And I've been doing this for 10 years now, and it's such an amazing career where I really get to, as soon as I have a vision, I can just point myself in that direction and make it happen. And that is the ultimate freedom for me. And I love that so much.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear a little bit about the next book because I've been following your work for a few years now, and I absolutely love it. But prepping for this interview, I was kind of digging in deeper and trying to figure out everything I could about you. And I'm literally just falling more in love with you. And your book is so great. And it's so cool because when I think of, who is Gala Darling, I think authenticity. You're authentic as fuck, and I love that. I love it so much, and so happy and so bold, and I found it was really inspiring to know that you weren't always that way. That there was a struggle, and there was a point in time where you didn't love yourself, and so I was just kind of wondering, what was that breaking point for you? What was the best self-help advice you ever got? Or what epiphany did you have? Was there kind of a moment where you knew that something needed to change?
Well, it's so crazy. I wish that I could say that I had come to a point in my misery that I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And I kind of was, but I also, when you're unhappy, it's really self-perpetuating, and you kind of use the misery to fuel more misery, and it becomes very hard to pull yourself out of it. And I had a boyfriend at the time who I had just started dating, who I really, really liked, and he was about 10 years older than me, and he basically said to me, you need to sort your shit out or I can't do this. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being the catalyst for me making all these changes. And so I'm very thankful for that. And like the thing that sucks about it is it's not like this super empowering story.
Yeah.
But I think often those are the things that really get us to change. We realize we're going to lose a relationship. We realize we're going to lose a job. We realize that something is going to happen unless we make a change. So sometimes it's those outside forces or those relationships that really inspire us to do something different. And I also kind of don't care how you get to that point as long as you get to that point. I don't really care what the catalyst is, as long as there is one. And I don't think there's really been, one big epiphany that I've had that has helped everything change and shift. But it's really a series of realizations. And so, honestly, a lot of the time it's having the same realization again. Like remembering that I get to choose my mood. Remembering that I get to decide how I'm going to behave and that will change everything. Or being in a relationship and being like, oh, wait, I have to stop complaining about the way they do things and realize that when I change the way I do things, they are then forced to change too. And that's how you change things, is by changing yourself. So it's really about relearning these same things over and over again. I know that I'm going to be 80 years old and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I can change my mood.
You and me both.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool. I know. And I noticed on Instagram, you actually have kind of like a complaining detox going on this week. It's like a 7-day no complaining.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw it yesterday, but I'm like so there because it's so true. I know. I absolutely love that. I think that's such a great idea.
It's so easy to complain, and we use it to bond with other people, and we use it to fill in silence. And, sometimes it kind of feels good to vent, but actually it's not really helping us. It's so much more useful to focus on solutions. Complaining doesn't solve anything.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. Would you say, was there like a first step that you sort of took towards loving yourself? Because I know a lot of people have this realization like, oh, I'm a total bitch to myself, so I need to love myself more. But I don't know that people necessarily know where to start because it seems like such a daunting task. So do you have any advice on like what's a good first step to start that journey?
Yeah, I can give you 3 first steps, actually. I think the first one is to just appreciate where you are and start a really regular gratitude practice. And everyone's heard this before, but there's a reason why you hear it so much, and it's because it works. We wouldn't be saying it unless it worked, right? So every morning and every evening, make a gratitude list. It doesn't matter whether you write it down or you verbalize it, but just make a little space to do it. I like to do it like by talking about it with my boyfriend in the morning or at nighttime. You can make it a family thing. Ask your kids what the best part of their day was. Make it like a fun, engaging activity that you really look forward to. So gratitude is the first one. The second one is to really carefully look at the people you spend your time with. And if there are people who are negative or toxic or drag you down or complain a lot, start to just slowly move away from them. You don't have to go cold turkey and never reply to their text messages, but don't initiate contact with them. Just let it ride and see what happens. And you might find that they naturally start to drift away. And there can be a period of calibration where you are between groups of friends, where when you're kind of on the road of self-love, you might feel a little lonely because you don't really connect with your old friends anymore, and you haven't yet met the people that really vibe with you. And that's really hard. And that can feel like you're doing something wrong. Like, oh shit, I made a wrong turn here. Like, why did I do that? Now I'm alone. Oh my God. And you start to panic.
Yeah.
But it's actually a sign that you're on the right path. It's a sign that you're transforming and changing. And as your vibration changes, the people that you attract to you will change as well. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday about how all of my friends work for themselves.
Nice.
They are all creators. They don't have a boss that they complain about. If they have a shitty client, they fire that client and they work with someone they love. And that is because of the vibration that I have as well. I have no tolerance for those things. I can't imagine having a friend that works in an office and like is only available from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't know anyone like that. So as you change, the people around you will change. And the third thing is to do what I'm doing right now, which is this no complaining detox for a week. Just see how that makes you feel, because I'm pretty sure it will make you feel amazing.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. I'm really excited because it's so funny. And I think it's just important that people understand, like, even if you're doing that detox, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Like, if you
Right.
catch yourself complaining, just stop yourself. So it's like
Yes.
every moment is that opportunity to choose again. So I think that's such a great initiative. I just think that's so great. So do you think, like, did you have a moment where you kind of realized, holy shit, I actually love myself? Like, did you have like that realization that like something had changed?
It's been a gradual unfolding, but I feel like I had that moment like 2 months ago.
Yay! Congratulations.
You. And obviously I have made massive strides, and I've been coming to terms with that for the last 10 years. But 2 months ago I was in Marrakesh doing my first radical self-love retreat, and the last night of the retreat we had a wedding ceremony. We all married ourselves. We chose ourselves, we wrote vows, we wore white, and it was fantastic. And part of the ritual was to walk up to a mirror that was lit by candles, and you were away from the group, so it was silent. You were able to really focus and do what you wanted to do, and look in the mirror and say your vows to yourself. And when I looked in the mirror, I was really amazed by what I saw. It was like seeing myself for the first time. And I really recognized how much power I had, how much beauty I had, and I really saw myself in a completely different light, and that has changed everything for me. It's changed the way that I do business. It's changed the way that I interact with my boyfriend and my friends. It's changed the way I walk down the street, the things I wear. It's really, it's changed my creative output. Like, it's really been a huge turning point for me.
That's so great. And it's so bad. When I read your blog, because you just went on a honeymoon with yourself,
Yep.
congratulations to Tulum. That's so amazing. And when I read that, like when I heard about that wedding ceremony, I literally had tears in my eyes. Like, I just couldn't, because I could legitimately feel that love that you had for yourself. And I was like, why haven't I had married myself yet? I think that's such an amazing, very radical, very incredible, powerful, moving statement that you're making to yourself. So
Right.
I'm already married to someone else, but I'm gonna have to talk to him about it, because I think it's time to have like a little affair with myself and maybe do an
Definitely.
elopement somewhere. But I just think that's so amazing, and I just absolutely love it. And congratulations. So I think that that's really cool for everyone to realize that, you can always love yourself more. And I think that that's
Mhm.
something that maybe in 2 years from now, you'll say, well, 2 months ago, I realized how much I love myself, because it's like a constant moving thing. So I think that's
Absolutely.
so cool. That's so cool. So something that I know I definitely struggled with, and something that I feel like we shared together was, you used to have body image issues and an eating disorder and things like
Mhm.
that. And I'm just wondering, like, I loved the idea of you tapping in front of a mirror.
Right.
That rocked my world. So I was wondering if you could explain that a little bit, and maybe if you had any other advice for falling radically in love with your body.
Yeah, so the tapping in front of the mirror thing was something that just came to me
Mm.
organically. It just seemed like the right thing to do, and it was extremely powerful. And I think for anyone who has body image issues, really doing that is very powerful. And this is coming from someone who used to stand in front of the mirror and cry. I couldn't have bare legs. I was always wearing stockings or leggings or pants or something. Like, it could not have my skin showing. It would like throw me into a complete panic. So to go from that to where I am today, where I can wear a bikini all week in Mexico and feel great about how I look, is a complete, like, unbelievable transformation. So I think tapping in front of the mirror is really, really important. And then I feel like my relationship with my body, just like everything else, is always evolving. So I had a really a big change when I started working out regularly.
Mhm.
I went to a gym. I started working with a personal trainer because I was living on the fifth floor of a building in New York City with no elevator, and I had to walk up these 5 flights of stairs. and I would just be dying. And I was like 24 years old, and I thought, man, if I can't get up these stairs at 24, like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So I started working out, and I really started to realize what my body was capable of, like the things that it could do. And I started to see it as not just this thing that I put clothes on and sometimes I felt good about and sometimes I didn't. I started to see it as this amazing machine that was capable of all kinds of things, and that really the only limit to what I could achieve with my body was my mind. And I realized the mind-body connection, where if I was doing squats, if I told myself a self-defeating thought, then I would be like, I can't do anymore. But if I told myself, like, yeah, you can do it, you got this, 5 more, I could get 5 more. And that really helped me just change my relationship with my body a lot. And I think another thing is just being around more women and seeing different types of bodies has really helped me appreciate my body type. Like, I'm not a waif. Like, I do have thighs. Like, I'm not a stick figure. And growing up in New Zealand, which is a very white place with a very European standard of beauty, and especially in like the 90s when it was like, you know, I just remember all the ads were like these stick thin women, and realizing like there are so many other types of beauty. And it's taken me some time to recognize that, and to recognize the beauty in like a juicy butt and like beautiful thighs, and that you don't have to be a size 0 to be really sexy. I started taking these classes recently at a place where they teach like stripper exercise.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
And I do floor work classes, which is like pole dance but without a pole, just on the floor. And I also do lap dance classes.
Amazing.
And the first lap dance class I took, you're partnered with someone you have never met before.
Oh my God.
And you have to like look at them like you want to devour them.
Oh my
And
God.
dance on them, grind on them, like you're pressing your body fully against theirs. It's very intimidating the first time you do it.
Oh yeah.
And the first time I did this class, I was partnered with this woman who might have been 45. She was extremely, like, she looked like she worked in an office. Like, there was nothing unusual or special or particularly like quote unquote typically sexy about her. Yeah. But the way that she moved and danced and her vibe was so hot. And I was like, wow, it really changed my perception of what is sexy, what is beautiful, what does power look like. And really, when you're fully in your body and you can own that, it's the sexiest thing ever. And I used to hear people say that and not really believe it. But it's kind of like seeing is believing. You have to experience that to know how true it is.
Definitely. I can't agree more. I think that's so great. Yeah, it is. It's so much in essence. Hey, like,
absolutely.
I totally agree with what you said about appreciating your body, because I find that rather than just seeing it for aesthetics, like actually appreciating, like I have the same thing. I've got these big thighs and I'm like, but they run like the wind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, or like I went, me and my husband went on a horseback riding adventure last year. And I'm like, this big ass and these big thighs, I was like built to be a cowgirl. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like just appreciating that it had its function. I was like, okay, yeah, I can love this. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that you posted a little while ago on your Instagram that I just like absolutely loved. And it kind of fits in with the sexy and the fitness. Yeah. It says, count your orgasms, not your calories.
Yes.
I was like, preach. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that, because that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, well, I really think that the best like beauty treatment or fitness treatment or whatever is to focus on your radiance and what is it that lights you up and makes you feel good. So orgasms are an amazing way to appreciate your body, get in touch with it, realize what you think is sexy, all of those things that we really push down and push away a lot. And you know, I think when you're focusing on your radiance, that usually entails some kind of physicality. It means you're moving in some way, whether you're hula hooping or jumping on a trampoline or going for a run or whatever. Though, you know, you're not going to feel radiant just sitting in a chair all day long. It doesn't work like that. You have to move your body. You got to get the blood pumping. So I think for anyone who, especially if you are like, oh, I don't want to exercise. Yeah. Start with like exercising on your bed. and enjoying yourself, like why not start there and then see what that inspires you to do next?
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. I think that's fantastic. Um, so back to your book, which is like freaking amazing. And if anyone watching this has not read Radical Self-Love, like just get it now, hurry up, get an ebook while you're waiting for a hard copy to ship. It's so good. And I love to write. I'm not a huge reader, but I just think that this book is so empowering and it's very relatable and really easy to like absorb. I find that it feels like, like a best friend giving like a tough love speech kind of thing. Like, this is what you need to do with your life. And I absolutely love it. So I'm wondering how, like, writing Radical Self-Love, what did you learn? Like, what was that kind of evolutionary process for you? Like, did that kind of take you further into that self-love journey?
That's a very good question. I have to think about that one. I it's really interesting because I really wrote that book a few years ago and I sold it chapter by chapter to my audience back in about 2010, and it was really a place where I could go deeper into these radical self-love topics and kind of explore them more than I would in a blog post. So definitely that experience was really good at helping me get really clear about what does radical self-love mean? What does it look like? Helping me define it and get really clear about what that would look like for other people. And I think probably one of the most useful things for me when I was, rewriting that and packaging it up for it to be a book was looking at the activities that people could do to bring radical self-love into their lives. Because it's one thing to read about it, but it's another to go out there and actually do something about it. And that's what I wanted people to do with this book. Like, people read books all the time or take courses and then don't do the exercises or the work. And then they're like, oh, well, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to do the work. It doesn't
work for you.
Absolutely. You can't just read it and expect to absorb everything and for your life to change. It doesn't work that way. So I think, the most valuable part of that process for me was looking at the exercises and seeing what would really be useful for people and then giving them actual tools that they could use in their own practice.
Yeah, that was massive. I know. And I loved them. And they were simple and they were things that you could do right away, but you can tell, like, and I just started a couple, like I just started the mirror work with the tapping, and I'm like so pumped about it, but they're very impactful, but very simple and something you can incorporate every single day, which is amazing. I know for me, when my book was published, I had this huge wave of like vulnerability because you're really putting it out there. And I don't know, like, because you've been blogging for so long, I don't know if that was kind of a similar experience for you, but I felt like when you put something out there like that, you have to love yourself because you're like, everyone in the world could say no to this book, but this is my book baby and I love it and I love myself.
Right. Well, yeah, I really had to choose myself and this book when I did it because I wanted to publish it years ago. I went and got an agent. I spoke to a bunch of different publishers. I went to all the big five and I would have meetings and they would be interested and then they'd be like, well, we don't really get it. And I would be like, what is there to get? Like, what? Like, I don't understand what you don't get about this. So then that really was hard for me because I believed so much in this idea, but then these people that really I was looking to for validation and approval didn't get it. And so it really knocked me for a while. It knocked my confidence. And then a couple of years later, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this another shot. And my agent said, I can't sell this book right now. It's not a good time. And I was like, I'm going to self-publish this. I believe in this. It's important to me. I think people need to read it. I don't care if I sell like 5 copies, but I believe that this needs to be out in the world. And so I did. I self-published using like Amazon Create Space. The book became an instant bestseller, and then Hay House bought the book from me and they picked it up and started publishing it too. So that is really, like you said, it's really about like, you have to choose your truth and stand behind it. And, so I kind of already had been through that process even before the book came out. I had already been like, I'm willing to put my own time and money into this. And it's one of the best things I ever did. And that's something that I keep learning over and over again, is that you have to take those big risks in order to get those big rewards.
Yeah.
You can't just rest on your laurels and keep doing what you've always done. It doesn't work like that. If you want to get to the next level, you have to put in more of yourself. You have to risk more. You have to take bigger chances.
Totally. I love that. And so now you're working on your second book, and I don't know if you've got a title. I don't know whereabouts in that process it is, but do you find, are you kind of going along like with the same idea? Like, is it more self-love, or are you going deeper? And I guess the main question is, between Radical Self-Love and your new book, baby, have you seen your own personal growth and evolution in that writing process? Like, do you have those new ideas and new things that you're going to add to that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, I started really working on this a couple of months ago. I'd had the idea floating around for a while, but I hadn't really put pen to paper, as I say. And when I was in Tulum writing this book, I would like walk to this treehouse jungle cafe every day and sit under a huge umbrella in my bikini with my laptop, and I would work, and it was like channeling, like the words just would come through. And Tulum in Mexico is so beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been there.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And it was like, when I was there, I kept telling people, like, I just want to write as much as I can because I want to put as much sunshine into this book as I can. Like, that's what it felt like. It felt like it was literally coming through my body. And I had kind of been thinking like, oh man, I should have started writing my second book as soon as my first one was published. Like, why didn't I do that? And now I know why I didn't do that. It's because the ideas weren't ready. And you do have to wait for them to percolate until they're really ripe and they're ready to go. So the second book is a continuation of Radical Self-Love. Beautiful. And it's about radical relationships.
Ooh, that's good.
So basically, I had to learn how to love myself before I could learn how to love others. And this book is about looking at love and relationships through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity.
Beautiful. That's so great. And I love that you wrote it in Tulum on your honeymoon with yourself. Like, I can't think of a more empowered time for you. Like, I just think that's so amazing. I know that that's all going to reflect in the book, and I will be first to sign up for that book. So I can't wait for the pre-sale. I'm in.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Besides Radical Self-Love, do you have like a favorite book that you would recommend someone read for self-love?
Oh, for self-love. You know what's interesting is I don't really read a lot of my genre. And I've always been a little bit like that. I never really read heaps of blogs. I don't listen to heaps of podcasts. Like, I try to keep my influences pretty tight because I don't want to pick up other people's ideas and think they're my own. I like my friends are geniuses, and I like to talk to them in person rather than, getting too much information overload. I think it can really like dull your senses a little bit.
That's a great point.
And I did an interview with Danielle Laporte yesterday for her new book, which is called White Hot Truth, which everybody should get. Yeah. And she was talking about being on an input cleanse where basically she's not reading astrology. She's not getting psychic readings. She doesn't see a therapist. And she's been going on this input cleanse for 10 months. And her intuition is so clear.
Yeah. Because
you're not getting all this nonsense from everyone else. And I think, that's a big thing for me too. But books to read, honestly, I think everyone should read White Hot Truth. It's like my thing right now.
That's amazing. That's so great. But really, that's really awesome input though, because it's so true, because there's so much we need to unlearn, because it's like, if we could just rely on our own intuition,
right,
we'd be great.
Absolutely. And I read very widely in other areas. I love to read biographies and research and all that kind of stuff, and business stuff I love to read about. But when it comes to like self-help, I try not to, it's kind of like a rabbit hole, and I try not to go too deep in it, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Yeah, another book that I would recommend actually is by my friend Sarah Wilson. It's called First We Make the Beast Beautiful, and it's about anxiety and dealing with anxiety disorder. And I think we all kind of have a degree of anxiety disorder these days.
Oh yeah.
And her book is immensely truthful and brave and very, very beautiful. So I really recommend people read that too.
That's awesome. Definitely. I think that's so great. Okay. So, I think I've got a couple more questions and then maybe a couple of very random questions, just
Okay.
things that I just personally need to know about you. But you have another quote from your book that I really, really resonated with, and I thought it was really beautiful. And it's, life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And I
Yes.
thought that that was super, super powerful, because I know that, myself included, I walk around trying to find, like, who is my authentic self. And what you're kind of suggesting is it's not something you find, it's something that you choose and create. So I'd love for you to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think like that's one of the most fun parts of life to me is taking all these ideas and inspirations and like layering them up. I really believe that you can make your life kind of like a recipe or a spell book where you can layer in these different ingredients that play off of one another and really create something that's like juicy and exciting and interesting to you. And also, it's about that idea that you're constantly in flux. You're always changing. You're wearing like a leopard print bra today, and maybe in 2 years' time, you will never be wearing animal print again. Like, it's part of this evolution. You get to play with it. You get to bring out a different side of yourself based on what you wear, how you talk, how you express yourself. And that's so powerful and fun and beautiful. So as a little example, when I separated from my husband and he moved out, I went through my living room and I like pinked everything.
Nice.
Like there's so much pink in my living room now. And that was me wanting to really express that part of myself. And as time progresses, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't need as much pink in my living room anymore. Like, what do I want to do with it now? What colors do I want to bring in? And it's all about finding that stuff that resonates and then making something that feels really good. We have the ability to do that. You don't have to suffer in a bland beige living room if you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's not expensive to decorate and put your own touch on things. And I believe that, dressing well and decorating your home and the things that you eat and the way that you speak to people is a way of honoring yourself. You should honor yourself that way every day.
Yeah, I totally, totally agree. I think that's so awesome. And now you just kind of triggered a couple of my random questions. So maybe I'm just going to throw those right in the middle for fun. Because you mentioned the leopard bra. And I have been, like, in grade 6, I wasn't a Spice Girl fan. I actually was the 6th member of the Spice Girls.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
I hope you got oiled.
yeah. So this is just totally my own ridiculous need to know. Who is your favorite Spice Girl?
I liked Posh.
Oh yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. That's all I needed to know on that one. This is just like a burning desire of me. I'm like, I need to know which one she would be in case you and I ever got together and needed to like recreate that. So that's good. You can have Posh. I'll be Scary Spice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's
I also
fantastic.
love how Victoria Beckham has turned out. Her career is so beautiful. She's extremely elegant. She's very precise. She has her own style. Like, I fucking love the way she does things.
I know. And watching her evolve over the years.
Yeah.
She's fierce. Absolutely. I love it. And so the other random question, because you were talking about colors, is I want to know, so if you are a new addition to the crayon box, what color are you?
There's this color that I really like that falls in between pink and purple.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be a very like vibrant, like almost like raspberry violet.
Okay.
And sometimes it's kind of like a muted berry kind of mauvey color.
Yeah.
That's like my thing.
Okay.
That's my
That's
color.
good.
But even the art on the wall behind me and my thing and these, you can see like pinky purple.
Yeah.
It's my shit.
Yeah, that's it. That's beautiful. And like no glitter in there. There wouldn't be any glitter in your crayon.
I don't know, maybe around like the edge, because you don't want glitter all the time.
Okay.
But when you need it, you really need it. So maybe it's just around the outside of the crayon.
Yeah, okay. That's actually probably some of the deepest life advice if you wanted to like get really metaphorical with it. Okay, that's awesome. I love that. So, I wanted to know what inspires Gala Darling.
What inspires me? I'm really inspired by life generally. Like especially being in New York, I find I can walk out of the door and walk a few blocks and see something that really lights me up and excites me and thrills me. Um, I'm inspired by living like the biggest life possible and then reporting back. That's kind of how I run my business, I think. I like to go out and live and then help people avoid the mistakes that I've made and encourage them to do the really fun things that they've always wanted to do. Um, and I'm really inspired by the women who take my classes, read my blog, and talking to them on Facebook and Instagram and like seeing where they're at and seeing what they're going through. As I'm writing this book about radical relationships, I'm thinking a lot about how women are in relationships and the things that they need help with. Like, people are trying to find love in unconventional ways, and maybe they're on Tinder and they're getting these like creepy messages from guys and they don't understand why. And I think you can be intentional about everything that you do. So why not write your Tinder profile like it's a spell? Like, be really clear about what you want to bring in and who you are. And I want to help women get really clear about who they are so they can express that through all of the parts of their life, through their creativity, through their business, through their love life, through the way they decorate their home and the way they dress, and just getting really clear about who you are and recognizing like you can bring in as much magic as you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of helping women do that really keeps me fired up. Like, that's very exciting to me. And it's really a privilege to be able to do that in any small way.
Yeah, well, you do an absolutely incredible job of that. Every single day, I'm inspired by you. So I think that's so incredible, so amazing. And I honestly can't thank you enough for this time. It's been so inspiring for me. And I know anyone watching this is going to just like have their minds blown open. So I guarantee anyone who's watching this is going to want a lot more of you. So where can we find you on the interwebs?
I am at galadarling.com. I'm at Gala Darling on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and on Facebook, I'm /XO Gala Darling.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, again, thank you so, so, so much for everything that you do and just for helping us all express ourselves in a wild, crazy, fun way. It means the world to me, and I'm sure everyone that follows you, we all love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Have an awesome, awesome day.
Bye.
Mwah. See ya.